All right, so are you ready for this? We're diving into Oprah today. Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, yeah. The one and only.
Yeah. And we've got some YouTube videos and even like a whole article here.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, even if you think you know Oprah,
Mm?
even if you're like a super fan, this is gonna like turn some stuff on its head. Like about how we see her, about how she got to where she is.
I love that. Flipping the script.
Yeah, totally flipping the script. So we're not gonna sit here and just be like, Oprah's awesome, she's amazing. We all know that, right?
Right.
This is about it's like a deep dive. Like, what are the things that maybe people haven't really noticed? The
Yeah.
turning points, the things that maybe that really show us how she built this incredible life.
Love it.
And then the big thing is, what can you take away from it?
That's it.
Not just like fun facts about Oprah, but like what can we learn about how to approach our own paths, right?
Exactly.
So, okay. We always hear that rags to riches story, which, yeah, it's like the classic Oprah story, right?
It is.
But these sources actually like get into the nitty-gritty
Yeah.
of what that really meant for her early life.
Absolutely.
And oh my gosh, hardcore is the only word.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking potato sacks for clothes. Like, not even kidding.
Yo.
Sleeping on a porch because they wouldn't rent to her family because of their skin color. I mean, this wasn't just like humble beginnings,
Right,
you
right,
know.
too.
This
Yeah.
was like a crucible.
Absolutely.
It really was.
Yeah.
When I read that detail about the potato sacks,
Oh, my gosh.
it like hit different than
Yeah.
just hearing, oh, she was poor.
It does. Yeah. It's so easy to gloss over that phrase.
Yeah, yeah. So for you, did any of those specifics like jump out?
Oh, for sure. And I think when you add in witnessing her mother's struggles at the same time
Mhm.
and dealing with that level of poverty, it's not just about like, a kid having a rough go. It's like shaping who she became.
Right.
So it probably like forged her drive for
Yeah.
sure, but also maybe her empathy.
Oh, that's interesting.
Later on, when she's connecting with people from all walks of life, it's not just that she's good at it, it's that she's been there
Mm,
in a way few of us can imagine.
that's true.
And that got me thinking, our own challenges, maybe not as extreme,
Sure.
but they could be shaping strengths we don't even realize yet.
It makes you kind of look at those things differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, we got this foundation of hardship, right?
Yeah.
But now, here's where it gets interesting. Ready for this?
Hit me.
Oprah
Uh-huh.
isn't even her real name.
What?
Yeah, it's a mispronunciation of, get this, Orpah, O-R-P-A-H,
Oh, wow.
Orpah Kara, who's naming their kid Orpah these days.
Seriously.
But stick with me here, because
Okay.
this is actually really important.
I'm ready.
What's so key is she owned that mispronunciation.
Interesting.
Like, it became Oprah.
Yeah.
And you see this throughout her career, this thing of taking what could have been like a mistake, a
Oh, yeah.
setback, and turning it into part of her brand, part of her power.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. It's almost like saying to the universe, if life throws you a weird name, make it iconic.
I love it. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But think about it. How does that apply to us?
Mm-hmm.
What have we been like trying to hide?
Right.
Trying to downplay. If that could actually be like our superpower.
Exactly.
That's deep, man.
That is deep.
Okay. But hold on, because this next part is where it gets really real.
Okay.
The sources address, the sexual abuse that Oprah endured as a child.
Right.
And I know that's like heavy stuff.
It is.
We're not going to like dwell on the trauma itself.
Right.
But what the sources highlight is how this became another turning point.
Yes.
Not just a tragedy.
It's so important.
Right. It's how she like transmuted the experience.
Transmuted. Yeah.
And there's this quote from one of the videos where Oprah talks about feeling relief
Okay.
when she finally revealed the secret. Like, think about that. Relief, not shame after, God, years of carrying that burden,
Yeah.
right? It's like
Yeah.
a lesson right there, just in that one word. Relief.
Absolutely. The cost of silence. Like, what does that do to us?
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm.
And it doesn't stop there. So the YouTube video talks about how her own mother didn't believe her at first.
Oh, no.
And like took her to a juvenile detention center. But get this,
Yeah.
they were turned away because it was full.
Oh, my gosh.
Imagine that feeling. Betrayed by the person who's supposed to protect you most.
It's just,
Right?
I know, right?
It's heartbreaking.
And yet on the other side of that, It also shows something about Oprah's resilience.
Right.
She had to find strength within herself
Yeah.
because the support wasn't there
Yeah.
initially.
Initially.
And this connects to her later advocacy work, right?
Absolutely.
It's not just that she's talking about these tough issues.
Yeah.
She's been through it,
Right.
and that gives her a different kind of authority.
For sure.
Right, a different connection to, like, the pain that others might be feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've got this foundation of hardship, right? This turning setbacks into power. But now let's bring in some other people.
Yeah.
The sources talk about the role of mentors, specifically her grandmother and her father.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And here's the thing, okay, brace yourself.
I'm ready.
They weren't perfect, not even close.
Interesting.
Like, the grandmother's discipline is described as harsh, even for the time.
Wow.
And the father, while he, like, provided structure,
Yeah.
also had his flaws, right?
Okay.
So it's a reminder that mentors, these people who shape us,
Yeah.
don't have to be saints.
That's a good point.
They can be flawed, even difficult, and still impart crucial lessons,
That's very true.
you know?
Yeah. It makes you want to reevaluate those figures in your own life.
Totally.
Like, who pushed you even when it was tough? What'd you actually learn from that? Yeah.
So now, okay, brace yourself, because this next fact, this blew my mind, okay?
But
You ready for this?
I think so.
Oprah's talk show,
Yeah, yeah.
the one we all know, the one that made her opiac,
Right.
was initially a disaster, a
Well-
total flop. And
Yeah.
not just like, finding its feet kind of flop.
Yeah.
The sources describe hot plates on live TV
Tailblades.
because they didn't even have a proper kitchen setup.
Oh my God.
And Oprah feeling totally out of her depth on certain topics, like she was unprepared. It was a mess.
Really?
A mess.
That's wild.
So wait a minute. So this woman, who we think of as like the queen of daytime TV,
Totally.
basically bombed at the start.
That is crazy.
That changes things.
It does.
It does.
It makes you think about it in a whole new way.
It does. And here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most folks would have just folded under that pressure.
But what's interesting is that what we learn from the sources is that Oprah, in this period, she changed. Like, it forced her to adapt, to find that authentic style that made her connect with millions later on.
So this, like, disaster was actually like her crucible.
Totally. It's that lesson of turning setbacks into growth. But the real key is, what did she actually do differently?
Not just that she persevered.
Yeah, that's what we got to figure out.
Exactly. That's what we got to unpack.
Right.
Okay.
That is wild.
Yeah, and it's not just that she, like, stuck it out. It's how she used that pressure, that early struggle, and it refined her approach.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Imagine being on live TV feeling totally unprepared.
Oh, my God.
You would break most people.
You would break me in, like, no question.
Right. So what did she do differently? Give it to me. Give it to me.
Yeah, spill the tea. What happened there?
So the sources suggest she leaned into vulnerability. Like, she embraced the uncomfortable moments, even used humor to kind of disarm the audience.
Oh, interesting.
It's like she was saying, hey, I'm figuring this out too.
Right.
And people, I think, they saw themselves in her struggles.
So she wasn't trying to be this, like, perfect, polished persona from day one.
No?
She was real, even when it was messy. I mean, that's kind of freeing to think about.
It is. It challenges that whole, like, fake it till you make it thing, right?
Totally, yeah.
Oprah's early talk show. More like, be real and then make it.
I love that. Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. We all know, like, the massive success of the Oprah Winfrey Show, the awards, the cultural impact, all that. But here's a detail that stopped me in my tracks. She stopped submitting the show for Emmy consideration after the year 2000.
Seriously.
Yeah. And she had already won a ton of Emmys at that point. So why walk away from, like, more potential wins?
Yeah, it does it. It's counterintuitive, right?
Totally.
But the sources, they suggest that, she felt she had already proven herself and wanted to give other shows a chance. It speaks to, like, a different kind of ambition. It's not just about accumulating accolades. It's about using your success to open doors for others.
Hold on. So instead of being like, I'm the queen of daytime TV, bow down.
Right.
She's basically like stepping aside so other people can have the spotlight. I mean, that's kind of unexpected.
It's a power move.
Yeah.
And I think it really ties into a recurring theme we see with Oprah, which is this expanding her influence beyond just herself.
Right.
Building a legacy that's bigger than any award.
Okay, and this is where things get really interesting because, like, she's not just a talk show host. This woman has an entire empire. I mean, Harpo Productions, O Magazine, Ono and Network, that partnership with Weight Watchers, it's crazy. It's mind-boggling.
It's a testament to her business acumen.
For sure.
She's not just talented, she's strategic.
Right.
And she's incredibly adept at diversifying her income streams.
Right.
You know, it's like she's playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers.
That's a good analogy.
Right.
Okay, confession time. Before this whole deep dive thing, I thought, the Oprah effect was just about selling books, and making products fly off the shelves.
Right, right.
But the sources point to something way bigger than that.
It's cultural. Yeah. It's political.
Wow.
It's, how people view themselves and the world.
So she's not just influencing what we BUY.
Right.
She's shaping how we think. I mean, that is a whole other level of responsibility.
It is.
I mean, does that ever, freak you out?
Mm.
What if she recommends a bad book or, I don't know, endorses the wrong candidate?
It's a valid concern.
Right.
And I think it highlights the, complexities of influence, right?
Yep.
Because Oprah's not infallible.
Of course not.
She's human. She's made mistakes.
Sure.
But what's important is that she's generally used her platform to uplift others, to promote positive change.
Right.
And that's something we can all learn from, regardless of the size of our own platform, right?
Really, yeah.
It's about asking ourselves, how am I using my influence? Am I contributing to something positive? Or am I just adding to the noise?
Oh, that's good. Wow. Okay, so Oprah is not just a celebrity. She's almost like a force of nature at this point. It's a lot to process.
Absolutely. And her story is far from over.
Right.
She's constantly evolving, pushing boundaries, and redefining what's possible.
Okay, before we get to the big wrap-up,
Yeah.
I gotta ask you about something I found hilarious in the sources.
Okay, I'm ready.
Apparently, Oprah hates chewing gum.
Oh, it's true.
Really hates it.
Really hates
I
it.
was dying. I was like, what?
She finds it so distracting, especially when people do it loudly.
I get that.
Well, yeah.
Loud chewing is definitely a pet peeve of mine. It's just funny, right? We're talking about this woman who's interviewed presidents and billionaires.
Totally.
And she's grossed out by chewing gum.
Right.
It makes her seem more human.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It reminds us that even the most successful, influential people,
Yeah.
they have these quirks and vulnerabilities.
Totally.
They're not these perfect beings. They're just like us, trying to figure things out as they go along.
Yeah, I love that. All right, last thing before we move on to part 3. The sources mentioned that Oprah's best friend is Gayle King, the journalist, the TV personality.
Oh, love Gayle.
She's great. And their friendship is like goals, honestly. They've been through so much together.
So much.
And they're still going strong.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It's a powerful reminder that success doesn't have to come at the expense of meaningful relationships.
Right.
In fact, those relationships can often be a source of strength and support, especially when you're facing challenges or navigating the complexities of fame and fortune.
That's true. Okay, I'm ready for the final part of this deep dive, but I have a feeling this conversation is going to stick with me long after we're done. There's just so much to unpack here, so many layers to this woman's story. All right, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into Oprah. And wow, it's been a wild ride, hasn't it?
It really has.
I mean, from potato sacks to a whole media empire, it's mind-blowing. But now I want to get into what it all means,
Right.
What's the legacy here?
That's the big question, isn't it? Because, the impact goes way beyond just Oprah herself. She's shifted the culture in ways we're still trying to, wrap our heads around.
Yeah, for sure. One of the sources called her the queen of all media, not just TV, but everything. And I think that really gets at it, She's not just famous. She changed the game for what a powerful woman, and especially a Black woman, can achieve.
Absolutely. Think about it. Before Oprah, did we have this model of someone going from that level of hardship to becoming a billionaire, running their own network, shaping national conversations?
It's unheard of.
It's almost like she wrote the blueprint.
Totally. And she didn't just climb the ladder, she built a whole damn castle.
Right.
And then invited other people in.
Exactly.
I mean, that is such a powerful image, especially for, the African-American community. Yeah. She's proof that the American dream, however flawed it might be, can be attainable, even when the odds are totally stacked against you.
It's incredible. And it's a testament to the power of resilience, determination, and believing in yourself. But it also brings up questions about those systemic barriers, right?
Right, of course.
Like if it took an Oprah to break through, what does that say about the playing field for everyone else?
That's a good point.
So her success is inspiring, but it also highlights the work that still needs to be done.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And one thing that keeps coming back to me is how optimistic she is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even talking about the tough stuff, there's this underlying feeling that things can get better, that we can grow. It's kind of contagious, honestly.
It is, and I think it's a deliberate choice, which makes it even more powerful, right?
Yeah.
Oprah's not naive. She's not blind to all the problems in the world, but she chooses to focus on solutions, on possibilities. And that mindset, that's something we can all cultivate, no matter what our circumstances are.
So true.
It's about choosing to see the good, even when everything seems chaotic.
Okay, yeah, I get that. So let's bring it all home. We started this deep dive looking for those, like, hidden turning points, right?
Uh-huh.
The stuff that makes Oprah's success more than just luck or talent.
Right.
What are the big lessons here, the things we can actually use in our own lives?
For me, it's about embracing authenticity. Oprah's not afraid to be vulnerable, to show her flaws.
Yeah.
She connects with people because she's real.
Mm.
And it reminds us that we don't have to be perfect
Right.
to be successful or to make a difference.
I love that. Like, permission to screw up, to be a work in progress and still chase our dreams.
Totally.
What else is there?
Resilience. Oprah's life story is a masterclass in bouncing back from setbacks. She didn't let hardship define her. She used it as fuel.
Okay.
That's a muscle we can all strengthen. It's about getting back up when we fall, learning from mistakes, and never giving up on ourselves.
So good. Okay, last one. If Oprah could talk to us right now, knowing everything she's been through, what would she tell us about unlocking our own potential?
I think she'd tell us to dream big, to believe in ourselves, and to use our vices to uplift others and make a difference. She'd remind us that even the most extraordinary journeys are built on a series of choices, efforts and setbacks, just like our own.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we're wrapping up our deep dive into Oprah Winfrey. I hope this has inspired you, challenged you, and maybe even given you a few new tools for your own journey. Remember, you don't have to be Oprah to make a difference. Start where you are, use what you have, and never underestimate the power of your own story. Thanks for listening.